go through. He's bigger than everything that you have to face. So why not just trust him to move from level to level? As the Bible says, from faith to faith. So you should not be where you were 10 years ago. Oh, Lord have mercy. You should not be saying the same stuff, walking the same walk, talking the same talk, looking at the same stuff the way you saw it. And the problem is when you get comfortable, you die a slow death. Everybody here has a routine almost. I'm sure everybody in this room has a routine. We had some changes on my, Lord Jesus, some changes on my job. I'm supposed to be to work at 7:30. Somebody shout amen. Amen. I don't like getting up in the morning. So the policy was, as long as my state vehicle was on the state road at 7:30, I can get out of the bed at 7:15. Somebody say amen. Amen. Route 70 is right around the corner. But how many of you know when new people get in charge, there are changes? Yes. Changes came down, and I was told you now have to be in your area at 7:30. I cover Union and Essex and Hudson County. I said, oh, Lord. Oh, my Lord. Jesus. You hear what I said? I said I cover Essex and Hudson County. So I got to be in Jersey City or somewhere in Newark or somewhere on the state road by 7:30. See, the moment you get comfortable with the way things are going, and I told my boss, I don't have a problem with change. Just give me a moment. Somebody say amen. Just give me a few minutes to adjust. I've been operating like that for 2.5 years in this position. But the point I'm trying to make is you cannot get comfortable where you are. Because the moment change presents itself, you don't know how to operate. Amen. Everybody, I'm not a coffee drinker, but there are some of us who get up in the morning and you have to have a cup of coffee. Some of us, some of y'all don't function right until coffee. You get a little sip. Yes, I got a guy on my job, and I believe I said this before. This man walks around, and everybody speaks to him, and he walks by, he says nothing. Nothing. Till he get that cup of coffee. I'm assuming that's what it is, because the next time I speak, I'm going to ask what's wrong with you. I'm praying that's what it is. But a lot of us are in routine, and our routine causes us a problem. Not because you do it every day, but the moment you have to come out of your comfort zone, you develop an attitude. Can I submit to you that you always have to be prepared and ready for change? Your comfort zone will kill you. So we have a positive side of your comfortability. Then there is a negative side. You ladies, well, brothers, you don't buy a shoe 2 sizes too small. Don't do it. Because you'll become uncomfortable. Yeah, you will. And you might even develop some little things called that and some corns. Some bouillon. But what I'm saying is you have people who will buy a shoe a size too small because of what it looks like and not realize that they're not going to be comfortable when they walk. Is there anybody here that wants to be, I'm going to take it spiritual, wants to be comfortable when you walk with God? Yes. You want to be, what I mean by comfortable is not in the sense of staying in the same place, but you want to know that you're walking with God and God is walking with you. There's nothing like going through a storm knowing that God is sitting right there with you. It's nothing like going through turmoil and knowing that God is there. I say this all the time. If it had not been for the Lord being on my side when I was going through, I don't know. I'm so glad that He kept my mind. I don't know what to do. Because it's easy, watch this, to lose your mind. It's easy. Somebody say it's easy. To lose. It's easy to lose your mind. Yes, it is. I don't care how much God you serve. I don't care how much tongues you speak in. I don't care how much offering you give. You can't buy your way out of crazy sometimes. Amen. Lord Jesus. Can't do it, sir. But somebody shout, I'm so glad. Even when I almost went crazy. He was yet there. So there's a positive side to your being comfortable. And then here is the negative side. When you become comfortable, watch this. Most men, we have a chair. I don't got no chair yet, but I'm going to get one. Where I'm the only one allowed to sit. Because that chair then adjusts to my body. It adjusts to the way, like I need one of these at the house. Because it's got this puffy stuff in the back and it feels wonderful. See, what's made for me ain't made for you.
That's right.
So you have to learn how your comfortableness, that's a word, that's not a word, but you being comfortable sometimes has to change so that you don't get caught up. Anybody ever went home and just sat in a chair and you went right to sleep?
All the time.
I'm talking about slobbing, snoring, every now and again. And again, I gotta push her. Somebody say amen. She says, I'm just relaxed. Yeah, well, you gotta stop all that noise.
Hey, that's a deep.
Yes, sir. Yes. So what happens is when you get comfortable in a place, a lot of things are liable to happen. You get relaxed. You get complacent. You get used to it. And then you don't want to do nothing else. We're living in a time now where kids don't play outside like they used to. Oh, Jesus. You know the problem, and I'm guilty of buying these things for my children. The problem is this stuff.
That's it.
We grew up where we got mud in our mouth, mud in our ears, mud in our toes, and we didn't mind. We ran up and down the street playing hide and go seek, catch a girl, get a girl, and red light, 1, 2, 3, and all. These kids know nothing about this stuff because they are comfortable with this. So when you say get out of the house and go outside, they don't know what to do. I have to literally lock my front door because my kids will walk in and out, because they are uncomfortable being outside.
That's right. Until
they're ready to go on their own, until their friends and all that show up. But we're living in a time where technology has allowed us, and let me confess, I had to catch myself. I would preach with my iPad every Sunday to the point where I couldn't even find a book in the Bible. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? And the Spirit said, put that down and get back to flipping the pages. Because the moment you become too comfortable with this stuff, you forget about how it's supposed to go.
Right.
Cell phones are destroying households.
Yes, it is.
Somebody check on it. Cell phones are destroying households. We are now, watch this, living in a time, and this is why I give instruction. Nobody is to go live in here but our media team. Reason why? Because there are a lot of things on the internet that present a vulnerability. Are you with me? And people may not understand everything that you do in church, and then they'll twist it and change it into something else. So to protect my people, I'd rather us be controlled when it comes to what we do so that we're not being mocked. People see too much of the church in a bad light.
Yeah, that's true.
Too much of the church. And the reason how I found out about that story about the wife, it was all over the internet, all over Facebook. First of all, nobody should have posted that to begin with. And can I submit to y'all? Let me give you a little Facebook 101. When you watch this, when you go to the ark, be mindful of what you post. Y'all hear me, right?
Amen.
Just be mindful of what you post. Amen. Because if you say you go here and you represent here, it's a reflection on me.
Amen. Yes.
Okay, that's another message. But you cannot get comfortable. You cannot get comfortable staying where you are. Somebody shout, I won't get comfortable. We read the text, Exodus chapter number 14. We'll deal with a little bit of 15 and a little bit of 16. Just to give you a little background, the children of Israel were in the wilderness. They were under Pharaoh's, the book of Exodus tells us that the oppression of the Israelites in Egypt, Exodus 1, 18 through 22, and Moses' early life. Let's move on. Moses was born. We talked about how every male child was supposed to be killed in this time. And they wanted them to be killed because they knew that men who grew up strong and stood in their place would make some things happen. Men, stay in your place. My father taught me one thing. It doesn't matter how hard you get. Stay in your place. In other words, not stay in your place, not stay in your lane, but stay in your position. So Moses was raised up to deliver these people out of all the stuff that he had experienced. Watch this, 14 and 10. It says, when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes. God was trying to get them, watch this, out of Egypt and into Canaan, the promised land. Somebody say, don't get comfortable in Egypt. So when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel, this is Exodus chapter number 14, verse number 10. It says, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them. What's behind you? What's behind you? Every now and again, you got to turn around and look what's behind you. Because there may be some stuff that ain't supposed to be there. Somebody say amen. Amen. You got some stuff traveling or tailing behind you that you should have gotten rid of 20 years ago. And the problem is, watch this, if it doesn't make a sound, it doesn't mean it's not there. You got to hear what I'm saying. Just because what's behind you don't make a sound doesn't mean it's not there. You may not notice it until it starts festering in your life. And you say, well, wait a minute, why am I going through this? Why am I, this was from, your past will follow you if you're not careful. Your past will follow you. This is why it's very important that we don't live perfect lives, but we should strive for perfection. But when we have things that follow us, I don't care how much I pay my car note, it's going to follow me until it's paid off. Somebody say amen. Amen. No matter what I do, it's going to follow me until it's paid off. And then what happens is we get comfortable with stuff trailing us. We get comfortable. So he says, the text says, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they were very afraid. The children of Israel, watch this, cried out to God. They said to Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, why have you taken us to die in the wilderness? Here are individuals. First of all, I believe the children of Israel were bipolar. 1 minute you want to be delivered, the next minute you want to go back to Egypt. If you want out, you want out. I don't want out of something just to go back in. So they cried to Moses. This is the 14. We're going to get to 15, chapter 15, 16. It says, you had graves. You could have dug graves for us in Egypt, where we were comfortable. You could have built a tombstone right there. You didn't have to bring us all the way out of Egypt for us to die. Now, them dying was not necessarily the case. They began to speak their own demise. Watch your mouth. That's what we're going to be dealing with our next Bible study. My tongue, my thought. Watch your mouth. Because what you say can determine what you become. What you say can determine where you go. Y'all here? Y'all with me? Amen. You have to be careful of what you say. So they're saying there were no graves for us. Were there no graves for us? In other words, we could have died in Egypt. And now the Egyptians are coming after us. And you want to take us from here to there? Wait a minute. You are the same individuals that God had already blessed. And yet you question, just like the disciples. The disciples saw all the miracles that Jesus had to offer. And yet they still had the nerve to question. He fed, watch this, he fed 4,000 people the first time. They saw this. 4,000 with less. And then he turns around and feeds 5,000 with more, and they question. And then Jesus had to say, why do you reason amongst yourselves? Do you not remember when I fed the 4,000 So why are you questioning my ability when it's time for me to feed 5,000 with more bread? So they said to him, they were better than they were graves where we were. 12th verse says, watch this, let's look at 11. It says, they said to Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you treated us this way to bring us out of Egypt? 12th verse says, isn't this the word that we spoke to you, saying, leave us alone? First you need a deliverer, now you want him to leave you alone. See, everybody's good with their mouth. Hear what I'm saying? But the moment you say, come with me, and you got to put some action to what's going on, now everybody changes their, can I? I'm coming with you when you go. Because, I love the way you, but the moment you move out, so they say, what did we tell you in Egypt? Leave us alone. God says, so that we may serve the Egyptians. Leave us alone so that we may serve. What was the topic of my message? Don't get comfortable in Egypt. So you would rather not leave Egypt and go to the promised land and be slaved? That's what it said. Leave us alone so that we can serve the Egyptians. So not only do we want to stay in Egypt, we still want to serve Pharaoh. Pharaoh was killing all the males. He was had them working long hours. He fed them when they wanted to. He allowed them to go outside and play when he wanted to. But yet still, because change presented itself, you would rather have served an Egyptian than follow Moses. Say neighbor, don't you get comfortable in Egypt. So Moses said to the people, do not be afraid. Fear will cause you to become comfortable. You ever notice there was a dog outside and you know the dog was terrorizing the neighborhood? Some of us wouldn't even walk outside because we knew that dog was there. We stayed in the house all day long because we knew that dog was there. So fear would cause you to become comfortable where you are. I'm so glad the text says that we should not fear, because he has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love. What does it say, y'all? Power and sound mind. Watch this. So you mean my mind being sound? That does not mean that it means my mind ain't going crazy. That's what that means. It means being in my right mind. So you mean fear is attached to all of that? You mean if I stop becoming fearful, I can have more power to move forward? You mean if I stop being scared, there's a chance that I won't go crazy? See, some of us go crazy in our own minds. Based off illusions. Based off, this is how people become, you got to watch depression, because depression is real and it can creep up just like that. All your mind has to do is tell your mind something other than what your mind should be telling you. And then you can slip into. So fear produces a sound mind. Not being fearful produces a sound mind. It produces power. So the Israelites, let's go to Exodus 15, verse number 24. Now, what I'm doing is trying to show you, we have 14 and 31, 15 and 21, 15 and 24. So a chapter later, what's their tone? 15 and 24. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, what shall we drink? Now they're making excuses.